Hi guys, I'm having some lunch. Legumes, beans, kidney beans, red beans with some, you can't see it, but there's actually some sunflower seeds in here and mint, parsley, red pepper, or sorry, orange and yellow pepper, green onions, kale, a little bit of olive oil, and some spices. There's some lemon too. So I'm just having my lunch, and as I'm eating, I would like to show you this quartz. It's actually an ashtray. It's a cigarette ashtray. It's crystal quartz from 1976 by a store that closed down, a department store that closed down, named Eaton's. I don't know if you guys ever recall a store named Eaton's in Canada. But yeah, so we've had this much, like, all this time, and I never, growing up, I never recalled. I mean, I noticed this throughout the years, but growing up, I never recalled that there's literally Metatrons Cube in this quartz ashtray. Do you guys see it? And then the six-pointed star, which is not the origins of the Star of David, because I have the six-pointed star on the back of my neck as well, and some areas of my body, and it's part of an ancient Indo-European cultural movement as well. Yeah, so people mistake it as Star of David, but at that time there was no such thing as David. There was no David. David came to life. David incarnated many, many centuries later, and he studied, the six-pointed star, which is now on the flag of Israel. Anyways, so here's literally the 13 dimensions, the 13 astrological planetary positions, Metatrons Cube, or sacred geometry, the fruit of life, the tree of life, the root of all civilizations, the root of matriarchy that turned into patriarchy, the high priestess, the Kabbalah, the ancient, I'm talking the old ancient Kabbalah, everything which was an old ancient esoteric teaching. It was never based on religion per se. It was, hidden occult knowledge. So Metatron's Cube can be found literally anywhere and everywhere, including my chest. So Metatron's Cube, oh, by the way, this is an amethyst with a ruby, some pyrite. This is from Ottawa. And the deck, that is a heart quartz. And some more pyrite, not pyrite, sorry. Anyways, so Metatron's Cube can be found anywhere and everywhere. And why am I so firm on this belief that Metatron's Cube, which is only modern name anyways, because we're going back to Metatron, an archangel, which, people don't really have physical evidence of an archangel per se, but he was someone known as Enoch, if you read about the books of Enoch and the ancient esoteric teachings of Enoch, who is, by the way, one of my actually my initial patron guardian. Someone once told me, don't share that knowledge with someone. That's not right. You shouldn't. That should be kept a secret. Oh, honey, the things I've been through, the evil, the darkness, the demons, the jinn, whatever it is you want to call it, which I don't really associate it as something um evil evil in that sense. If you're still living and breathing and moving forward, then everything that you've experienced, that which is darkness, evil, demons, whatever, that's been a gift and a power that's been given to you of knowledge, wisdom, and it's totally up to you what you do with that knowledge and wisdom in life, you know? So it may stay as darkness or you know, the definitions of darkness, whatever it is, in your system, in your DNA tract, in your cells, if you choose not to do anything about it. But if you share that knowledge and wisdom with with everyone around you, then that's a power, and that's a gift, and it cannot have power over you any longer, or if it ever even did, you know. So the universe is, there's more darkness in the universe, in the galaxies, than there is of light, guys. Okay, so anyways, Metatron's cube. Okay, so yeah, back to Archangel Metatron and his esoteric knowledge and his experiences as a scribe of heaven, and the scribe who writes all the deeds of men, good, bad, karma. Everything is written down. Everything. It's called the Akashic records, the Akasha. Through centuries, through eons, through the beginning of humankind, through the Earth's beginning. This is the root of humans, the root of our DNA, our cells. It is found everywhere in our cells, in our body. When you look into your finger, you can see spirals. You can see the spiral in your finger. You can see, if you can see the spiral, this is part of that Fibonacci, I can't really say Fibonacci spiral, the golden ratio, sacred geometry, the fruit of life, the tree of life, the sacred everything, Metatron's cube, the 13 dimensions. This is found in our DNA. So if you want facts, this is a certain type of fact that this truly does exist. And the astrological planetary positions is really 13. This is what Jesus was talking about. I don't really believe in Christianity per se, but I do believe that Jesus had some truths and that he did exist. It's just that people turned him into a god when he was, you know, a wisdom seeking tribe person, you know. He was someone who was also teaching and learning about esoteric knowledge, which has been ripped away from the Bible. But anyways, you know what, I don't want to get into that, the whole governmental plan and all that BS, but I will be getting into that in the fall because of my experiences and everything I've learned, including all the genocides of the modern civilizations of today, of what's going on, including Iraq and Syria right now, because it's in my ancestors have been through the same thing, the Armenian genocide that happened in the late 1800s, early 1900s. You know, it's part of my DNA. You know, we've been robbed of our history and our heritage and our culture, and our homes were burned down, our women's were raped, our children were taken away, our culture was taken away. You know, and when that happens to you, your cells and your DNA, it dumbs down. It goes lower. Your then, you know what I mean. I'll get into that video, but I don't want to talk about it right now. So this is the sun, okay? This is the planetary position of the sun, which is the Jesus sacrifice. Now, I truly believe, nobody has to agree with me on this, but I truly believe the three Abrahamic faiths, Christianity, Islam, and Judaism, was either formed as one book from the beginning, and it was broken down into three books and three different forms of religion, because at the end of the day, they're serving each other, okay, for this one world government to take place. Armenians were the first Christian nation in the world. Why? Why were they the first to adopt Christianity? I have all the answers. I have all the answers within, and I actually saw it with my own eyes. I experienced it. I was attacked. I got out of it. There's people in the public organizations that know my story. There's been recordings of me recording this in police stations with detectives, with the government of Canada. So many different things, you know. They know my story, they know the truth, they know what's going on in the Middle East, they know the plan of them coming over here, you know, the everything, all those, what do you call it? Not premonition, predictions that I said that's going to happen within the next few years, and it's already happened. It's happening right now, and all those children, the survivors, are going to come here, and they need some solid structure because they don't know, you know. Not to say people, I mean, most, uh, I'll get into that after, but back to Metatron's Cube, okay? Metatron's Cube is very powerful, okay? You can find this in snow crystals. It's the same symbology when you look up snow crystals. Sound therapy. You know, I studied sound therapy and I actually received a certificate for it, that I can conduct this and do this for people and whatnot. Sound therapy, I took this up in 2013. It was part of my psychospiritual, you know, studies and whatnot. Sound therapy, which is, you know, using certain tones of humming, singing, um, you know, the voice. Sound was created first, and part of the universe was created through sound. Not actually, not even part. The whole universe was first created through sound, and then numbers. So numbers are older than astrology per se, but yeah. So numbers have a frequency to it. Singing and sound has a frequency to it. There's an intention behind a sound, even when someone is saying the opposite. Therefore, I believe language is important, but you know, frequency is even more stronger. So, you know, it's found everywhere. It's found in flowers. It's far. This is the blueprint of the earth, of the universe. The secret esoteric knowledges are all around us. They're in plants, they're in trees, they're in flowers, they're in the human DNA, they're on our skin, they're in our body, they're in our spine, our cells. So if there is a fact of anything, you know, whether it's the Kabbalah, which has been breaking down from matriarchy to patriarchy to 10 spheres, or dimensions. First, when it was matriarchy, it was 13, and they broke it down to 10. Okay, there was a man. I made a video about this when I had that interview with those two Jewish guys from Israel. One of them was a Russian Jew, but the other one was an Israeli, that I was working with last year. We were talking about how there was a guy who has published works, and he's always said, oh, you know, it's physically impossible to go to the 13th dimension, when in fact it's not. I have been through the 13th dimension. Mind you, I went through heaven and hell here on planet Earth. I lost 20 pounds, and I gained the 20 pounds, actually 25 pounds back within less than a year. So I got stretch marks on my body, and I've never had stretch marks in my life at that age of, you know, from that age that I was doing it at, which wasn't very long ago. And so most of it, I wrote it down. You know, there's some people, they know about this, which I took that knowledge and I chose to do something about it, okay? Because I stayed alive. I have not been killed physically. I almost was killed because my spine has been tampered with, physically. You know, I'm not kidding. This is not a joke. I'm not talking about no aliens. You know, I could if I want to think of it that way, but I'm a very practical and rational and logical person. I'm earth oriented. So I'm not in the ethers where I'm, you know, thinking or visualizing that aliens came out of space and took advantage of me or tried to. What happened was completely, it was on a physical level. My spine has, you know, those two bones from your spine that keeps it together from the back of your neck that goes to your head. Mine has been dented, pushed in. I have a scar. It's not very obvious. I have a tattoo there, but if you put your hand on it, you can feel the two bumps. It's been literally pushed in, and the intentions behind why it was done is, I will get into those videos after, but with that, me surviving it, so much knowledge about this one world government, so much knowledge about these religious, Zionist, atheistic. Um, I don't have anything against people who are atheist, guys, but people, they're not religious per se. They're not, they don't care about humankind. You know that, but they're doing this to shift things, and they're forcing it. They're not allowing this to happen naturally on its own. It's being forced upon humankind. Okay, because there is 666 encoded in this, and 666 is not what many people think it to be. Okay, it's another form of deception. It's another form of the beast and the demon and all this stuff. 666 in numerology equals to number 9, and number 9 is the grandfather of all of experience. Is a very spiritual number, is a very wise number, and it's the end of numerology. So take it with a grain of salt. It could literally be whatever you wanted to believe it, but they're not allowing it to unfold naturally. They're forcing this against humanity. Okay, so that's the issue, and I experienced it. I saw it. All those messed up mantras that is in the Hebrew Bible, all those messed up intentions that is in the Hebrew Bible, as well as the Islamic Quran. People that do them, they don't know what these codes are. They don't know what those intentions are. They don't know. However, that knowledge has been passed down to me, and again, I'll get into that into another video, because this is going to be way too long, and I need to be in the correct mindset to get into that, which I will hopefully be uploading within the next 1 or 2 weeks to 3 weeks. During this Mercury retrograde, I'm going to get into it and upload and these videos. So when I said, publicly, it's going to be the first time I'm talking about it. It's not publicly the first time, but it will be publicly on YouTube, where I get into detail about it. Because like I said, there's people in those organizations, they know about this. At first, some of them were worried, but they saw the predictions are coming, and they truly believe what happened, and they've seen physical evidence. So yeah. So back to what I was saying. This whole world. Oh, so the matriarchy to patriarchy, going from the 13 dimensions to the 10. Why was this done? Now, I'm not here to say women, the physical body of women is more superior than man, because I believe in equality, all right? However, and women and men have feminine and masculine energies and traits, and when we incarnate on earth, we could have been a man, but now we're incarnated as a woman to experience life, to experience what it is to be, all this oneness. So, the 13 dimensions. Now, why is it that woman, is more intuitive, or is able to further heighten herself with her psychic abilities when man can do it as well, but why is it that women can do it even higher? Okay, and I'll tell you this: a woman has a womb, okay, and within this womb, she is capable of carrying a child, a soul, a physical body growing in her body for 9 months. Again, going back to the number 9, okay? So if you really think about it, a woman is capable of carrying that 666 frequency within her body for 9 months. This is a soul that's impregnated in her womb for 9 months. And the physical body is growing within that 9 months, okay? So within those 13 dimensions, where does that soul come from? Okay, we understand that the physical body is being formed in her physical body as she eats and breathes, and you know what I mean? But through the man's sperm and the cells and whatnot. But where does the soul come from? Do you get what I mean? A man is not capable of bringing a soul into his body and growing that soul into his body. He's not capable of growing that 666 frequency into his body, which is why I always say that Luciferian or doctrines or any cult or any satanic, whatever it is, I don't even really want to call it that, but there are people that I have to define it that way so they understand what I'm trying to say, why they go to women, or why Lucifer or Shiva, or, you know, these ancient deities are more attracted to feminine energies, is because they are capable. And any god, any pagan god, or any of those Bible gods, they're, you know, more attracted to women, is because the woman is capable of that. She is carrying that 666 frequency in her body. Okay, which is probably why in the Bible it says, oh, you know, the tree and Eve and Adam and they sinned and whatnot. There's so many ways you can look at that, but, you know, henceforth, that is how the woman is capable of reaching higher frequencies, the dimensions. The woman is going through those dimensions, and in that 9 months, she's experiencing higher frequencies. She's experiencing emotions that she's never experienced before when she's pregnant. She's raising a child. She's raising a soul in her womb. You can consider that as a form of jinn if you want, you know, because jinn is said to live, it likes a company of humans. It doesn't have a physical body, so it likes to stay with humans. It likes to possess humans. It likes to come into human body form and eat, because it gets to eat and feel and have sexual encounters and emotions and whatnot. Well, hello, it can be a form. I mean, I'm not degrading children, I'm not degrading babies, I'm not here to scare you, but these are different aspects and different ways they can be perceived. So, there's just so, you know, the matriarchy, you know, those women, wise women, sages, these shamans. Shamans were females in the beginning of time. Witches were always females. You know, wise women, all indigenous cultural women from the beginning of time that connected with earth, with the spirits of the earth. There was no religion. It was all connectivity, plants, earth, animals, beings, entities. That is why woman was much more capable of that. And then the patriarchy, you know, they came in and you know, crucified and tortured the women because they wanted that knowledge. They wanted to experience that knowledge. They wanted to know, how is it that woman is so mysterious and powerful. But what they came to understand is, in today's society, which, you know, the Pope, the priests, they're all men now, or have been within the last centuries or so, they found that man is not capable of even if he knows all the secret esoteric knowledge, he's not capable of doing it without woman. It's not the same. He can't physically have, you know, that live in his womb. So, do we have physical evidence, facts, proof that the 13 dimensions exist, that the 13th astrological 13th sun exists? You can go back to the 13th tribe, you know, which Jesus was part of, or they tell the New Age talks about the ascended masters and whatnot, which was another form of another type of agenda. But anyways, all this knowledge, all this esoteric knowledge, occult knowledge, is for us to decide what it is that we want to do with this knowledge. Do we want to sit back and do nothing, or do we want to educate each other and create stuff, um, and protect the earth and ourselves and each other with it? The answer lies within you, and everything lies within you. So I hope this sits well with you guys, and we'll see where it goes.